You're not lazy. It might feel like you are, like you're falling behind, wasting time, not doing enough. You wake up with plans, things you said you'd finally start, things you know would move your life forward, but somehow the day disappears. You check your phone for a second, and suddenly it's been an hour. You open an app, scroll a little, then a little more, and before you even realize it, your attention is gone. Not because you're weak, not because you lack discipline, but because your brain is overloaded. We live in a world where your attention is constantly being pulled in every direction. Notifications, videos, messages, endless content. There's always something new, something faster, something more interesting, and your brain adapts to that. It gets used to constant stimulation, fast cuts, bright visuals, instant rewards. So when you sit down to do something that actually matters, something that takes effort, your mind resists, not because you're lazy, but because it's not getting the same level of stimulation it's been trained to expect. Think about it. Scrolling gives you something new every few seconds, a different video, a different idea, a different emotion. But real work, it's slow, repetitive, sometimes even boring at first, and your brain doesn't like that anymore. It starts looking for an escape, just a quick break, just a quick scroll, just a little distraction, but that quick moment turns into lost time, and the more this happens, the harder it becomes to focus, because you're not just losing time, you're training your brain. Every time you switch tasks, every time you reach for your phone, every time you avoid discomfort, you reinforce the habit of distraction. You make it easier to quit and harder to stay. And over time, focus starts to feel unnatural. Sitting in silence feels uncomfortable. Doing one thing for a long period of time feels impossible. Not because it actually is, but because your brain has been conditioned to expect constant change, constant input, constant stimulation. And without it, everything feels slower, heavier, even exhausting. That's why you can spend hours on your phone, but feel tired after 10 minutes of trying to work. It's not physical tiredness, it's resistance. Your brain is fighting the lack of stimulation. It's searching for something easier, something faster, something more rewarding in the moment. And the easiest way to get that is to go back to distraction. So you do, again, and again, and again, until eventually you start believing the problem is you, that you're just lazy, that you don't have what it takes, that other people are simply more disciplined. But that's not true, because the issue isn't your effort, it's your environment. You're surrounded by systems designed to keep your attention, apps that are built to be addictive, content designed to keep you watching, algorithms that learn exactly what keeps you engaged, and they get better every day, stronger, more precise, more effective at pulling you in. So it's not surprising that focus feels harder than ever. You're not competing against boredom. You're competing against systems designed to keep you distracted. And most people don't even realize it. They just feel stuck, confused, frustrated with themselves, wondering why they can't stay consistent, why they can't follow through, why everything feels harder than it should. But the truth is, nothing is wrong with you. You're just overstimulated. And once you understand that, everything starts to make more sense. The lack of focus, the constant urge to check your phone, the feeling that you should be doing something, but never actually starting. It's not random. It's a pattern, a loop your brain has learned over time. stimulation, distraction, temporary relief, and then guilt. And the worst part is, the more you repeat this cycle, the stronger it becomes, because your brain is always optimizing. It pays attention to what you do most often, and makes that easier. So if you constantly switch tasks, constantly seek quick dopamine, constantly avoid anything that feels slow or difficult, your brain adapts to that. It becomes better at being distracted, and worse, at staying focused. That's why even when you want to change, it feels harder than it should, because you're not just fighting habits, you're fighting conditioning. But here's the important part. If your brain can learn distraction, it can also learn focus. It just takes a different approach. Not more motivation, not more pressure, not trying to force yourself into discipline overnight, but slowly retraining your attention. Starting with something simple, reducing the noise, giving your brain space to slow down again. Because right now, silence feels uncomfortable. Doing nothing feels wrong. Even a few minutes without stimulation can feel strange. But that's exactly where focus begins, in that space where nothing is happening, where your mind isn't being pulled in 10 different directions. At first, it won't feel good. You might feel restless, bored, even slightly anxious. That's normal. It's just your brain adjusting to a lower level of stimulation, and over time, that discomfort starts to fade. Your attention stabilizes, your thoughts become clearer, and things that once felt hard start to feel manageable again. Not easy, but possible. And that's the shift most people never reach, because they quit too early. They go back to what's comfortable, back to constant stimulation, back to the same loop, without realizing they're reinforcing the problem. But if you can stay in that uncomfortable space just a little longer, something changes. You regain control over your attention. You stop reacting to every impulse. You start choosing what you focus on. And that changes everything, because your attention is one of the most valuable things you have. It determines what you learn, what you build, what your life becomes. And right now, most people are giving it away for free, to apps, to content, to endless distraction, without even thinking about it. So the goal isn't to eliminate distraction completely. That's unrealistic. The goal is to become aware of it, to notice when it's happening, to catch yourself before you fall into the same pattern. And slowly, start making different choices, even small ones. Putting your phone away for a while, focusing on one task a little longer, allowing yourself to sit in silence. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be consistent, because consistency rewires your brain in the same way distraction once did. And over time, what once felt difficult becomes natural again. Focus returns, clarity returns, and the feeling of being stuck starts to disappear. Not because your life suddenly changed overnight, but because your attention did. And that's where everything starts. So if you've been feeling lazy, unmotivated, or like you're wasting your time, take a step back and ask yourself something simple. Is it really a lack of effort, or is it constant distraction? Because once you see the difference, you stop blaming yourself, and you start fixing the real problem, one moment at a time, one choice at a time, until eventually you're no longer stuck in the same cycle. And for the first time in a while, you feel in control again. Not of everything, but of your attention. And that's enough to change your life.